shout out to Jason in Odessa. What's up, Jason? Well, everybody does it, I guess, but I think this week I'm going to talk about the things I don't like about my bike. There's a few things that I don't like about my bike. I'm going to start out with number one being the stock exhaust. The stock exhaust leaves a lot to be desired. Stock exhaust sits somewhere between the throaty rumble of a cruiser and the whiny pitch of a sport bike, a super sport, without getting either of the good parts of that. Like, it's almost a good throaty rumble, like a cruiser. But it's not quite that. And then it also, at the higher RPMs, doesn't give you that, you know? It just doesn't have it. So it sits somewhere just under a super sport bike and somewhere above a cruiser. So it's in between those. And it's just not enough of either to really make it special or stand out. That's number one thing I don't like about this. Number two thing I'm going to say is the stock seat. Now, my other bike had a Corbin seat, and I didn't realize how comfy that was until I didn't have it anymore. This seat, it's got a weird angle on it. Like, the Corbin seat comes across more like a tractor seat. I don't know if I can catch that dude. Nope. The Corbin seat's more like a tractor seat. It kind of has a nice round spot for your booty, and it's also got a little bit, it's kind of grippy. Like, the material itself is a little grippy. So when you're riding, if you have, start and stop, you don't necessarily slide around in the seat. I mean, there is some slide to it, but not a lot. Whereas the stock seat's got a very angular, it's pretty angular with the way it's cut. So it's pretty angular with the way it's cut, so it does like the opposite of what you need it to do for your butt, which I guess is okay if you're going to be hanging off of it, sliding around, but it's not very grippy. I mean, it's not grippy. Like, I slide, if I accelerate or brake too fast, I slide, which really, honestly, that means I need to work on my knees gripping the tank, so that way I'm part of the bike at my waist and knees. But the stock seat is not comfortable at all. Number three, I have to say, number three is the availability of parts. For some reason, it's hard to find parts for this thing, and the parts that you do find are usually pretty expensive. And I don't know how that compares to other bikes, but I would imagine the SV650 is not quite popular enough to warrant all the extra parts to be made. For instance, if you guys watched one of my videos from before, you know that I was missing some screws, and I replaced those screws. Those screws had to be ordered, and there was only one place in Texas that actually had them. So it took about 4 days to get in. So that's kind of weird, I guess. It's hard to get parts for it. So it's not like it's not common enough that you can just find parts for it. no wheelies. Oh, this is what I'm talking about. Another thing that I don't like about this bike is the stock shock. The stock shock is just too spongy for anyone over 150 pounds. My last bike, I bought a used ZX14 shock, put it on there, and it was worlds difference. Especially once I got it tuned in to me, and I got the front forks taken care of as well. That made a lot of difference in the way that the bike responded. Plus, when I had it on a little bit more stiff setting, wheelies. I could do wheelies on it. But that brings me up to my next point. Probably the thing that I don't like about this bike the most, or not the most. So like the last thing, I guess, that I don't like about this bike is that you can't do wheelies. Like, you can pull the front end up, and if you're good, you can balance it. But the problem with that is the way that the engine's designed. Your oil, I forget if it either drowns one of the cylinders and suffocates the other one. I forget what it is. Anyway, the way that it's an L twin, so when you bring that front end up, one of the cylinders doesn't get the proper oil to it, so you end up killing the engine that way. Now you can wheelie sparingly, but you can't do those wheelies. You would never see an SV as a stunt bike. It's just not going to be the case. So I guess that wraps up my 5 things: stock shock, stock seat, stock exhaust, parts availability, and wheelies. See if I can catch up with these fellas. What's up? Doing well. I saw motorcycles, thought I'd stop. Got it. Yeah. It's my second one because I wrecked the first one.
What was the first one?
It was the same thing but blue. Yeah, I told my wife, I said, yeah, I was out practicing wheelies over on, and she said, why would you do that? Like, why would you ask me that? Yeah, if I was on one of these, I definitely would be up on one wheel a lot more often. If you guys are interested. Yeah? Here, I got another one. Yeah, if you got, I mean, they're pretty cheap. There's a place down on Hunter Road that prints them up. I got 500 for about $30. So, but you can tell the quality. What's your YouTube? I'll go ahead and Schaubster. Oh, you'll have 12 now.
Oh, you'll be able to see him wheeling there too.
Oh, is that one I just saw? Yeah. Are you Colton? Yeah. Sucking at wheelies?
I was practicing third gear wheelies when I had my old truck now.
You're on a Ninja, huh?
Yeah.
Is that the 600?
Yeah, wait.
300. I see. I have a hard time because they made the smaller bikes look cool now. Face down in the desert now, cage locked around my heart. On the way to drop the keys of my failures when now my hands can't reach that far. I ain't made for rivalry. I could never take the world alone. I know that in my weakness I am strong, but it's your love that brings me home.